directly for our meetings, for our trips. Someone answering me. Okay, thank you for all of you that are saying I should go ahead. Emmanuel, Joy, Bolu, and Caleb. Okay, Sabongos is saying that ladies prepare better. I don't know if he's a lady because he has Sab beside his name. I don't think he's a lady. He's supporting the other gender. Fine. If ladies prepare better than guys, it means that they put in a lot. Am I allowed to use Bongo's observation? Oh, ladies prepare better. All right, I'm getting more responses. Okay, if the vote is that ladies prepare better than guys, then what makes them prepare better? What is there? What skills do they have to get set better than the guys? After all, most of the time, if the trip is carried out by a couple, you will realize that it's the man that drives most of the time. It's the man that knows where they should stop, the man that gets the fuel. All right, fine. Ladies prepare better means that there's a skill to preparation. And that's essentially what we're talking about today. What skill do you need to prepare for your business? That's what I want to discuss. And for you to prepare for your business, you need to study ahead of that particular business. You need to do the things that ladies do to prepare for their trips. Maybe if I could just borrow some idea from the ladies in the class, why some of you that prepare better for each trip, what do you put in to prepare better than the guys? And what do you think the guys are lacking in terms of preparation? Why is it that they don't do adequate preparation, or even if they do adequate preparation, why is it that the one that ladies do is far better than the one that guys do? Just react on the chart and then we'll go ahead. I will see your chart. So essentially, this module is about feasibility study and business plan. Feasibility study of what? Feasibility study of the business you want to get into, and then the business plan of the whole idea entirely. So section 1 is feasibility. Section 2 of this module 2 is the business plan. So we want to see how we can quickly deal with that and proceed we'll take our research for tomorrow once we are done with these 2 sections. So for the first section, which is, I think I can proceed now. I'm not getting any more reaction. Is it that I have only 2 people in my class, or only 2 people are ready to discuss with us today, or some people are not particularly interested in this module? Anyway, it's not about interest in the module. It's not about interest in this module. The interesting thing about feasibility study, or what we'll be discussing today, is that today you may be looking for funding from the NISA Microfinance Bank. But tomorrow, whatever funding the microfinance bank can offer will completely be inadequate. That's everybody's prayer. We pray that your business grows big to the extent that you wouldn't be looking for 5 million, you won't be looking for 10 million anymore. And interestingly, as you look for more money to expand your business, you will realize that you still need feasibility study at whatever stage. Today, the richest man in Africa, Dan Gote, right, is embarking on a $15 billion project, the refinery, and he's looking for money here and there to ensure that this thing starts. So when we're talking about $15 billion, for someone like Dangote, whose net worth is put around above $7 billion, say that he still needs money to achieve whatever he wants to achieve. He still needs money to do what gives him joy. So you will need money from time to time as you keep going ahead in your business. It's not the money that is important, it's the size of your business and the mission that you intend your business to achieve. So at each point that you are looking for money, you will definitely need to do something we call feasibility study. All right, so I will simply ask you to note this, please note this thing. What is a feasibility study? We should have achieved that at the end of this particular session, and we should be able to differentiate feasibility study from a that we should be able to do at the end of the whole module. And what are the reasons why we should do a feasibility study? At the end of this module, you should have that at the back of your mind. So with that, I can proceed into what we have for today. This section is going to have 4 sections, 4 topics. 4 topics for this particular session. There, you can see on your screen the outline. The first topic in this session is what's feasibility study. And not just feasibility study, yeah. We also want to know what a feasible business is, because feasibility study is for you to achieve a feasible business. And so in the first place, what is even a feasible business, so that we know we have achieved or we have arrived at what we planned. That's the first topic here. The second topic will comprise, or we will highlight a few things, and they are objectives, importance, and then the shortcomings you find with feasibility study. The third topic is how to go about the feasibility study. I'm sure that should be interesting. It's a very small topic here. We are bringing in the things that you should know as to prepare for a feasibility study. You will also make sure that you note some of the shortcomings in topic 2 that we'll talk about, and then the objectives and why it is important. So with that at the back of your mind, you could go about you could just use whatever we have in topic 3. That's how to go about the feasibility study to actually undertake a feasibility study. And interestingly, again, as you undertake a feasibility study, there are certain things that we will expect from this feasibility study. Your feasibility study should give rise to a feasibility study report. So the feasibility study of the business should give rise to a feasibility study report. And this report should have an acceptable format. What I mean is that they should have certain components, and that's what we talk on that topic 4. These components will also, with an idea of the components at the back of your mind, it helps you know how to go about your feasibility study. It helps you prepare what you are going to look for in the field when you are preparing your questionnaire, when you are preparing your study outline, when you are preparing your, when we say study outline, we are talking about not just a study that you will do on the internet, not just the books that you're going to read, but the questions that you're going to ask the ministries, the NDAs, the people you are going to meet, and some businessmen that you're going to meet, including the people that are going to ask questions from, your people you'll be importing things from. So all of that, these components will actually help you to know how to set up out what you need. And then the component also is the component of the report. So we expect your report to have these components. And so when you have the components and you are prepared to go out with the study, when you're writing out your report, you will find it easier to write. All right, so those are the 4 things that we are going to talk about. And so we will start immediately with a feasibility study. I don't know if all of us were present in the class when we asked the ladies or the guys who prepares better, and then we have the vote for the ladies. They say the ladies that prepare better. So if it's the ladies that prepare better, what do they have that helps them to prepare? What is also a feasibility study? I want to think that what the ladies do is that and try to picture the problems they can encounter, and then they put in things to mitigate those problems and to ensure that the trip is reasonable. You will see that the lady will embark on the trip, they can collect water, they can collect food. Why do they collect water and food when for the guys they believe that they are going to need water and food on the way? They collect water and food because you don't know for sure if the people selling the food and water will be open or if they will be available. What if they are not available? Or what if they suddenly need water? So they ensure that they prepare for those problems. All right. We could believe from the list. All right. If we feasibility study of our business. So what is a feasibility? An analysis of the viability of an idea. Two keywords there. You do an analysis and then you check the viability of this idea. So what are you analyzing? You're analyzing an idea. And you're also checking for the viability. When what should I say? Who and who will likely buy from me? Do people really need this product? You ask some of those questions and you break them down into seeing that, okay, people need this product. Or, yeah, I have people that will buy from me. They are willing to pay this amount. They can afford this amount. And then you can now say that, okay, you are doing an analysis and then you are checking for the viability. When you're done with that, the key thing to ask yourself is you have to answer the main question. The main question is, should you proceed with this idea? That's why the feasibility comes before business. The idea, once you have hatched the idea, the next thing to do is for you to think of should I proceed with this? But as you're trying to proceed with that, there's one key thing that you have to look at. Okay, I heard his voice is breaking, meaning my voice is breaking. Please, is it my network? I can barely hear the structure clearly. The voice keeps breaking. Yeah. Okay, I may have to, if my voice is breaking, I will assume that with the internet challenge. We have other internet provider here, and we may have to take a few minutes and then change to those ones and see whether it has improved. I may have to change to those ones and then see if it has improved. So, but thank you for the observation. Please keep letting me know so that I can quickly do that. But if my voice is stable now, I will proceed for a while and then make preparation to change this, to change the present internet network I'm using. All right. Okay, but just try to follow my slides. I am basically talking to the slide. Talking from the slide. So when you are doing this viability analysis of the idea that you have come up with, what do you look out for? The main thing you look out for is potential problems. What are the potential problems? All right, I could come up with an idea like okay. All right, allow me take a break of maximum 3 minutes to see if I can adjust the internet, and if I succeed in that, we will monitor that one. If it's not better, we'll think of picking up another one. All right, because there's no essence in talking and nobody can hear me, or I am not communicating at all. But I can assure you that we will try to meet up the time that we have agreed to meet.
Gentlemen, ladies, sorry for that break. What I need you to quickly assess whether my voice is still breaking, so that we would know exactly what to do. Okay, so you just let me know. Okay, someone say it's better, fine. Right, I just hope it stays fine this way. So what was I saying? I was talking about viability, an analysis of the viability of an idea. And so when you are analyzing the viability, what do you check for? What do you check for? You check for potential problems, and then you attempt to answer those potential problems immediately. All right, I could come up with an idea like, why don't I make a machine that can feed people? Instead of using uh, your spoon or cutlery to feed yourself, I could make a machine. All you need to do is to sit in front or sit at the dining, and then this machine feeds you. The idea sounds reasonable. It sounds like, yes, I'm solving an issue. But really, do you think that people really want a machine that can feed them? Some people, they enjoy the food because they're using cutleries. They enjoy the food because they can physically put the food in their mouth and enjoy the fact that they taste. So that is already an issue. There's an issue with that particular idea, meaning that yes, it's an idea, you're trying to solve a problem. People don't need to feed themselves, they just need to sit at the dining, and then a machine feeds them. But you have not solved the major problem. What's the major problem? Will people buy? And why wouldn't they buy? These are the analysis you do, and when you are done with this analysis, you get to know whether this idea is viable or not, and you proceed with another thing. So once an idea, you can proceed with it, whether with the whole idea. So essentially, that is what a feasibility is. So anytime you are doing an analysis of the viability of an idea, you are doing a feasibility study. There are things that we must note in a feasibility study. Okay, I told you that we will talk about feasible business. Okay, let's discuss what a feasible business is, and then we'll go into some other things that you should note when you are doing your feasibility study, and that will conclude topic one. So, for any business to be considered a feasible business is one where the business will four criteria. Four criteria. The first is, can the business generate adequate cash flow and profit? Adequate cash flow and profit. So, number two is, can it withstand the risk it will encounter? Note that the line says it will encounter. We are saying that all businesses will definitely encounter risk. That's what we're saying. We are not saying, can you withstand the risk it may encounter? No. Your business will definitely meet some risk. Business itself is risk, like some people usually say. Then the next point is, can this business remain viable in the long term? Long term is a relative term. When we say long term, we're talking about the average life cycle of that particular product. Like life cycle could just be for some months, could just be for a particular period. Let me give an example. Okay, like now presently we have issues with the COVID-19, right? And then so many people have to use their they have to use face masks. So if we go into the business of manufacturing face masks, how long can it last? Now, by the time we are done with the COVID-19 and is a thing of the past, will that business still thrive? The business will not. The business of face masks would now be limited to maybe just the medical outfit and thereabout. So what are we saying? What is the long term for that business? The long term for that business, so long as no solution is found for COVID-19. But with people anticipating that there will be a solution in maximum in the couple of a year or thereabout, uh, that means the viability of your business is just for a year or so. And can it remain viable in that long term? Yes. If it can remain viable in that long term, then your business is feasible. Okay, then the last one is, um, Does it meet the goals of the founder? Does it meet the goals of the founders or founder? So whatever your goal is, your passion is, what you intend to achieve. Maybe you want to be an employer of labor. Maybe you want to get people. You want your product on several tables or whatever it is. Can it meet that? So once your business can meet any of these four criteria, then we'll consider that business as a feasible business. Okay, let me check if I'm being listened to carefully. What's the difference between cash flow and profit? Because we said it should generate adequate cash flow and it should also generate profit. So which one is cash flow? Which one is profit? Let me get your reactions in the chat. I don't want to get only 2 or 3 reactions. It means I have only 2, 3 people in the class. Please pour in your reactions as much as possible, and then that can keep the class moving, right? At least some people will know you're around. So let me have your comments in the chat. What's the difference between a cash flow and profit? While I'm waiting for your reaction, I will go to the next thing that you need to note when drawing up a feasibility study. What are some of the things that you should note when drawing up your feasibility study? When preparing either the report, whether you just want to go out, there are some things that you have to note, some questions you should ask yourself. The first thing, anybody with a business idea should conduct a feasibility study, period. It's almost like a commandment. I can't say it's a business commandment or whatever. It's just once you have it, you just need to do a feasibility study. Why? To determine the viability of that idea before proceeding with it. Why is it advisable? There are people that can go ahead with a business without a feasibility study, but it's advisable you do a feasibility study because some of them may have succeeded. I want to say maybe it's Sherlock, or maybe they did some feasibility study they didn't even notice they were doing, right? So let's take this rule first. As any business idea, any business idea that comes, so you conduct the appropriate feasibility study for that. All right, another thing to note. Okay, I've gotten one reaction. Let me see. I hope the reaction is the answer to our question. While okay, meaning my voice is still okay. Cash flow is long term, while profit is short term. Profit is cash flow less expenditure, while cash flow is total income. Cash flow is the money coming in and out, while profit is the money generated after capital must have been taken out. All right, all right, all right. Okay, beautiful reactions. Let me quickly tell you one story, or do I give you the story after I have? Let me finish this topic and I give you the story. Fine. Okay, cash flow is continuous flow of income on daily basis, weekly, monthly, and yearly, while profit is gain on a business. All right. Okay, I'll give you my story. But before I give you my story, let me quickly conclude on the things that we should note when we're doing a feasibility study. A feasibility study, addresses things like where and how the business will operate. So you have to answer questions like where. You have to answer questions like how. Another word for how, you refer to how as a strategy. But you see, how is definitely different from where. Where is your location? It could be in Suleja, it could be in Lagos, it could be in Kano, it could be in Calabar. Then how is, are we going to package this business and put it in a truck? Are we going to put our wares in a vehicle and then stand by hold up or whatever? That's how. So when you are dealing with your feasibility study, you are going to look at issues like where and how. These are things to note. Another thing to note is this: it provides an in-depth detail about the business so that you can determine if and how it can succeed. So while you are engaged in your feasibility study, you should try to see what you can put on ground to determine if and how it can succeed. And then it serves as a valuable tool for a for developing a winning business plan, meaning that you don't just go ahead with your business. If you do a feasibility study, you realize it's a whole lot easier to do your business plan. And lastly, feasibility study can be used in many ways, but primarily focuses on proposed business venture. So there are other uses. I need you to note that that's not the only thing. And then when we get to the importance of feasibility study, we will see one of the important uses there. One of the important use there. All right. So these are the things you should note. So that concludes topic 1 under section 1. So we can move to topic 2. Right? What's topic 2? Topic 2 is study feasibility study objectives, the shortcomings, and then the importance. So we'll start with the objectives. Are we good to go? So what are the objectives? I thought someone would remind me that I have a story for you. Or the rest of you are saying, no time for story. Just go ahead with what you need to say. We don't have time for stories now. But some people like stories. So let me just, for the sake of those that like hearing stories, let me give you this short story. Do we have an Amaka in the class? Yes or no? Do we have a Patricia here? Yes or no? Okay. Let me use these two names just for the purpose of my illustration. We have Amaka and Patricia. Both of them, they sell oranges. They sell oranges. Did I hear someone laughing at the background? Okay, all of them are muted, so someone is not laughing. Maybe they're laughing in their mind. Those of you laughing means you know the story earlier. But for those of us that don't know the story, just listen. We have Amaka and then Patricia. They both sell oranges. They went out to buy oranges. They bought 10 each for 10 naira. So 10 naira times 10 oranges is 100 naira. So both of them spent 100 naira to buy this orange. They all went different ways to sell these oranges after peeling them. Amaka sold her orange for 100 naira each. The price of Amaka's orange is 100 naira, and the price of Patricia's orange is 200 naira. At the end of the day, Amaka successfully sold most of hers. That was by evening, she had sold all her oranges. So she had with her 100 naira times 10 oranges, that is 1,000 naira. But Patricia went out around 10 a.m. and by 12 she was done. And she sells her orange for 200 naira each. So she was able to sell all of them, meaning that she sold them for 200 times 10. That's 2,000, right? Okay. If you check the profit Amaka made, Amaka sold her oranges for, she was able to realize 1,000 naira. If you take away the 100 naira she spent in buying the orange, she has 900 naira. Fine. Okay. If you go to Patricia, Patricia sold her oranges for 200 naira, right? 200 times 10, that's 2,000. If you take away the 100 she used in buying the orange, she has 1,900. So who's got more profit? Okay. Obviously, it's Patricia. Patricia is going home with a profit of 1,900, while Amaka is going home with a profit of 900 naira. All right, but there's another thing I didn't tell you. Amaka sells only on cash. She does not take credit, whereas Patricia sold all her oranges on credit. Meaning that if you check Patricia at that time, she has no cash on her because she's waiting for those people to pay up. Whereas Amaka has cash of 1,000 naira on her. So who has more cash? Amaka obviously has more cash. So Amaka has cash, while Patricia was able to make more profit. So that's the difference between cash flow and profit. Whereas you could have profit at some time, your business may not necessarily be supported by cash. And to some extent, you could have cash and then you are not making enough profit. So that's the story to illustrate the difference between cash flow and profit. And you use this story to judge whether a business is feasible. So the question is the business generating adequate cash flow? Is it generating profit, adequate profit? There should be a balance between these two. And that's what we use to determine whether the business, one of the criteria for determining whether the business is feasible. All right, for those of you that enjoyed my story, thank you for listening. If you like my story, feel free to clap for me. But those of you that don't like the story or that have heard of it before, fine, fine, fine. Let's proceed to the next topic. What's the next topic here? Objectives, shortcomings, and importance of feasibility study. Very simple. What's the objective? Why are you doing a feasibility study? Okay, someone is raising his hand. Uh, if since you are raising your hand, I don't know if you are raising the hand to ask a question. Okay, let me unmute your mic and then you ask your questions briefly and then we go ahead. Okay. All right, let's go ahead. I can't hear his question at the moment, so let him remain muted. Questions can come at the end of the. All right. So we said, what are the objectives? First, it's obvious to raise money. We started this section by telling you that it's to raise money. Two, to satisfy the requirements of certain people. For example, NISA Microfinance would need you to do a feasibility study or to do a business plan. And to satisfy directors that a project is viable. When you are coming in as a team, for example, maybe we are seeing a time in the near future where those of you that are assessing this loan will now come together and form a company. And then you decide to make it large, because if all of you come together, if you have assessed 10 million and then 10 of you come together, that's 100 million. You could do much more. And all of you that are coming in with this fund, we will regard you as directors each on the board. So if anybody is coming up with an idea, the whole directors must agree. And how do they agree to that? When they see a feasibility study. So that's another objective. All right, let's go to another one. Allow me skip this other one and then we'll go to the other one, which is ensure that all parties agree on the key elements of a project. Yes, whatever the key element is to get all the parties to agree to it. Right, so let's go a little, let's take a look at it from another angle. What's this angle? It helps us to determine the optimum facility mix to maximize revenue. Oh no, what's all this optimum facility mix? What am I mixing in a facility anymore? Let's put it in another way. For those of you that did some form of, is it economics or something they do in secondary school or so? They call it capacity utilization. Well, they discuss under capacity utilization. I don't know if you have over capacity utilization at all. But for example, for the purpose of my illustration, you have over capacity utilization and you have under capacity utilization. Then there should be a middle ground. What is the appropriate capacity utilization? The appropriate capacity utilization is what we refer to as the optimum facility mix, meaning that all the facility you are going to bring up, your equipment, your location, your accessories, the people, number of people you are putting on board is a mix. So this mix should help you maximize revenue. You don't just deploy everything. If you deploy everything at the same time, you might make losses. If you deploy too little, you may be losing revenue. An example is this. If you decide to pick up motorcycles, and you want these motorcycles to operate in the rural area, if these motorcycles are operating in the rural area, you need to assess how many people will use this motorcycle per day, and at what time will they use the motorcycle. You don't just deploy, okay, wow, this village, I have so many people here, let me put 10 motorbikes here. No. What if only one person leaves the village in 1 hour? So why do you need 10 bikes? You can only use one bike will be enough because you have 10 hours of movement. So that's how you maximize your revenue, not to put 10 vehicles at the same time. So you need to do that. Or what I'm saying is that your feasibility study will help us bring out that. Then another one is oh, today's network is really not favoring this class. All right. Um, I will also try to do something about that shortly. But let me see. Okay, I will. Let me talk to the technical team on the internet stuff, and then let's see whether they can adjust it and and we see. All right. Or maybe let's switch. We'll switch the internet provider, and if it's better, fine. If it's not, we'll come back to another one. All right. We also need to also confirm that your network, the network is not from our own end, that the network may be from your own end as well. But wherever is coming from, we just pray that we get the best. All right. Another reason why you do a feasibility study, the objective is to help you form the basis of initial market and project planning. When we are talking about market, what is market in terms of business? Market is the number of people who will buy. Market is number of people who will buy. So when I ask you what is your market, I'm asking you how many people will buy from you, or who and who will buy from you, or what are the type of people that are buying from you. So if we agree that in Abuja should be roughly about 5 million. I mean, Abuja and its environment should be about 5 million, right? 5 million people. So any business you come up with, we will say, okay, the whole population is 5 million. So who and who is going to buy is the person that is buying your product that we refer to as your market. If your market is maybe you're opening a school. Yeah, let me use a school. You open a school, who are those buying from you? The first thing that will come to our mind is students, right? But if it's a school for kids, you know that the students are actually not the the buyers; they are the users. The buyers are the parents. So we're going to look at how many parents have children between the ages of this and that. That is your initial market. This market that we can talk about market share. So how many of this market, how many people in this market are you selling to? If the market is made up of 1 million people and you are selling to, let's say, 10 people, then your market share is 10 over 1 million. That's why you see business struggling to see how much they can push and get more. And that's why you see Coca-Cola, I think, is regarded as the market leader because it has much, it supplies or caters for a major part of the market of those that want to drink soda or want to drink soft drink. I have not done my analysis, but Coca-Cola is a force to be reckoned with. So when you want to know if it's a force to be reckoned with, first take how many people are there to drink Coca-Cola product or to drink soda or beverages. If we say we have 1 million people, how many of them are drinking Coca-Cola more often? So that helps us calculate the market share. All right, the last objective. Note that I raised the point on this earlier. The last objective, in some cases, in some cases, it provides the argument for business closure or change of use completely. You want to change the whole use, you want to change the whole project. So my interest majorly is the argument for business closure, because sometimes some people you could hurriedly close up a business and later realize that, oh, you shouldn't have closed this business because someone just started the same business and then the person is doing well, meaning that there was something wrong, or something wrong with your original strategy, and that there was nothing wrong with the business idea or the business in the first place. So, but there are some business that you should close. There's no need to continue with those business, either because they are no longer feasible, they are no longer working. So you have to provide. It helps, a feasibility study helps you provide an object, provide an argument why you should close the business. For example, um, do I still see so many um, recharge? Is it recharge card? Yes, recharge card sellers. You, a couple of days back or years back, you see some people will sit under an umbrella, and then you can stop by, buy a recharge card from them, or you can even make a call and then pay. Is such a business idea still feasible? You answer in the chat for me. You answer in the chat. Everything answer in the chat. Why answer in the chat? So that I know you are participating. At least I know the number of those answering my questions in the chat. So if I'm to rate participants, I'll definitely know those that I'll rate better there. All right, so the next item is, what are the shortcomings? What are the shortcomings? Okay, everyone saying no, 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 no. The business is no longer feasible. Don't bother. So I shouldn't bother giving anybody money to sell recharge card, to make phone calls. That means everybody's got phone now. Oh, interesting. All right, quickly. What are the shortcomings of the study? Some of the things that we see, some of the things that people miss out. One, sometimes some people will overestimate the market potential, meaning that they say, Abuja has 5 million people. What if I sell to these 5 million people every month and I'm making a profit of 1 naira from my product? 1 naira, yes, reasonable profit. So times 5 million people, that means my bank will have 5 million every month, 60 million a year. Interesting. But have you asked yourself the first question? Will everybody buy? That takes me to the second point, underestimated competition. Are you the only one selling? There are other people selling the same product. So if other people are selling the same product, it means that you couldn't be selling to the 5 million estimated population in Abuja. Right, let's go to the other shortcomings that we notice from feasibility study, things that people don't take care of adequately. The other things that people don't take care of adequately are planned capacity is not compatible with market size. What do we mean? Planned capacity not compatible. Planned capacity not compatible with market size. Okay, I gave you an example earlier. Recall I said you want to start transporting people in rural area using bike. Should you deploy 10 bikes or should you deploy 1 bike? What if, given the example that I gave, that 10 people leave the village per day, or will need to go out of the village per day, but they go out of the village at an interval of 1 hour. That's the average you get. So what should be your capacity? Should you deploy 10 vehicles or you should deploy one? So should you deploy 10 vehicles or you should deploy 1 vehicle? So that's basically it. It's something that you need to carefully do. And then the other one is underestimated importance of management and manpower skill. What do I do on this point? Maybe I should give a short story again on that. Okay, if I'm going to give a short story on that, let me move to the other point. I'll clear that and I'll give you the short story again. Maybe our training today is just storytelling. After all, some people scored 100, so they just need stories, not the technical aspect. Okay, both ways, I hope I achieve the two ends. Okay, before I give you, the next one is market projection based on insufficient data. What is your market projection? Is it based on sufficient data? Are the data you have, do we have 5 million people in Abuja? And are these 5 million people, do they form part of your market? You need to answer those questions. You don't just say, okay, there are 5 million people here, and so we must have there are 5 million people here, so 5 million people, you come buy my product. No, it doesn't work that way. But people buy what they want. They don't necessarily buy what you ask them to buy. If not, I could go ahead and ask people, buy this, buy this, buy that, and then I force you to buy and then collect your money. But people buy what they want. And so what do people want is what your market projection should be based on. And market projections are based on data. Do you have correct data? Do you have good data? Do you have data that represent what's on ground? All right, another point is people sometimes, when they are doing their feasibility study, they tend to overestimate infrastructure. The common infrastructure that we face, challenge that we face here is power, right? So don't, when you are setting up a business, you don't say, oh, in this particular area, there's always power. Really? And even if you are setting up a business and you say, okay, I need to buy a generator for 4.5 kVA, or I need to buy 10 kVA, I need to buy 30 kVA. Have you done your energy audit? Have you reviewed what particular power you require? So you need to do a number of all those things, and that helps you, let you know that you have not overestimated your infrastructure. All right, so those are the shortcomings that we see. The other shortcoming is the underestimated importance of management and manpower. Oh, someone is drawing on my screen again. Maybe we have kids around and then they are also playing with the screen. But I hope, even if you have kids around, because I learned that they are not in school now, it also means that you are also listening. All right, observation here. Please endeavor to repeat each point you make before going ahead with explanation. Okay, I should endeavor to repeat the points. Okay, I'm going to repeat all the points here again, and I'll try to repeat it, and then before I go ahead, at least. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. That means people are listening. Right, let me try that on this particular slide. The first point is overestimated market potential. The market potential is overestimated. Okay, I explained that earlier. Underestimated competition, I explained that. Plant capacity not compatible with market size, I've talked about it. It's plant capacity also relates to facility mix. Then I am going to talk about underestimated importance of management and manpower shortly. And the other point is market projection is based on insufficient data. The data you are using is insufficient, it's not valid, it's not a good representation. Then another one is overestimated availability of infrastructure. For some of you going into farming, you don't just go and pick up a land in a particular place. You have to make sure that wherever you are getting a land, you should have some access to road network, because by the time you do your harvest and your harvest is good, how do you remove them from that place? All right, I think I can go to the next item on this topic 2 before we conclude. The next item is the importance of feasibility study. I know those of you that don't like stories will not remind me that I wanted to tell a story on management. There was this man. He entered a shop where they sell parrots, and he asked the seller, "Hey, how much is this parrot?" And he said, "Oh, that parrot, that's 10,000 naira." I said, "What? 10,000? Why 10,000? That's high." Okay. What about this other one you set aside here? He said, that one is 20,000. Parrot, 20,000. What am I going to do with parrot that you're selling it for 20,000? What can they do, by the way? Is it not just to talk? He said, honestly, this first one that is 10,000, that one operates a computer. It can type, it can use a Microsoft. So he said, really interesting. How about this one, 20,000? He said that one actually it can write programs, computer programs. Really, wow! Can do an app. Okay. Wow. Parrots 10,000, 20,000. What do I do? Hey, but how about this other one you set aside over there? How much is it? He said that one, sir. He lowered his tone. He said that one is 100,000 naira. So he couldn't even shout 100,000. So he just quietly asked the seller, "Why are you selling that one for 100,000?" So the seller said, "Honestly, I don't know why it goes for 100,000. But you see, this one that is going for 10,000, this one that is going for 20,000, they call that one boss. But I've never seen what it does before." So when you are called a boss, you are the manager, you are the one around, and you are always important. Even if no one has seen what you are doing or what you do. So do not underestimate the importance of management. Their presence could even bring things to order just because they are seated there. Sometimes they are seated there just to watch, to ensure that things are running smoothly, not that they are doing something. And some of the other importance is that the skill, the experience, what they have seen before, they can easily see ahead what will go wrong and then deal with it. All right, thank you for listening to that parrot story. Let's get back to importance. All right, we've talked about the objective, about the shortcomings. Let's quickly highlight these four importance of a feasibility study. Let's highlight these four importance and we'll move to the next topic. One, list in details all the things you need to make the business work. When you do your feasibility study, you have details of things that you need that will help the business to work. And two, it helps you to identify logistical issues. Logistics, that's transport. Like you said, those of you going into farming, if your farm is located way, way into the bush where we don't have access, road access, you will have to come up with some logistical solution to how you need to move those things from the bush out in your harvest. Because if you leave them there, they get stolen or they get spoiled, and that's losses, and the whole aim is defeated. Another thing is it helps us to develop market strategies to convince whoever is giving us money to develop marketing strategy. You check the feasibility, you check how, you check where. You also know that you need to come up with what do I need to do in this market? What strategy do I need to do to get my product sold? Should I sell more to the people that are existing? Should I go to a new market and sell? Should I go to should I develop, bring a new product to those that are already buying my previous things and all? Then the last importance, like we earlier said, serves as a solid foundation for developing your business plan. All right. Thank you. That concludes the second topic. So let's go about the third topic. The third topic is about the feasibility study. The third topic. So we are done with the first two topics: feasibility study, feasible business. Topic one. Topic two: objectives, shortcomings, and importance of the feasibility study. Topic three is how do we go about the feasibility study. So we're getting a little more practical, right? And not a big practical, right? We're still in class, so it's still theory. Okay.
before you go, before you begin writing your feasibility study, first, identify how, where, we mentioned this. Then, to whom you intend to sell. We didn't mention the whom. Who are you selling to? That will help you identify the market. Then another point is assess your competition. Do a competition analysis. Who are those that determine the price? Who are the buyers? Are there more buyers? Are they sensitive? Or the suppliers? Or what kind of market are there substitute for my items? Or this business is very easy to enter? There is ease of entry. Or this you need to do some of this analysis or there's intense rivalry even in the in the in the business completely. So one of the key things you could use what I'm saying now, or which is an adoption of the five forces model of competition proposed by Michael Porter. So you could go read up that and then use that to assess your competition. Then another point, figure out how much money you need to start your business. I'm sure this one is a lot easy. Money for equipment, money for rent, money for, you can easily get that. But you also need to establish another thing, which is how much money do you also need to keep the business running until it is established. That might be a little bit difficult, but you also need to establish that, because that plus the amount that you need to start the business is the entire amount that you need. And when you want to know how much you need to keep running, you need to find out what's your burn out rate, or what's your burn rate, meaning what must you spend in a particular month or a period. Maybe you spend salary, maybe you buy certain raw material, maybe you buy fuel and all of that. You need to get all of that. It may not be in the original how much you need to use. Right. So three things: how, where, whom will I sell this product? What is my competition? And then how much we need to start this business and to also keep it running. All right, before we proceed to the next thing, there's another thing that I need us to agree on, and that is pre-feasibility study. Carefully sit down, you realize that the feasibility study itself is time consuming. From what I've been advising or what I've been saying, you know that you need to go into the field, you need to do what you need to do a lot of things. So why do we just engage in all of that all of a sudden? And maybe we don't know the outcome of our feasibility. We don't know the outcome of our feasibility study. Will it bring all the solutions to the problem we will encounter? Will it tell us that we should proceed with the business? Will it tell us the business is viable? Since we don't know that, why don't we do a pre-feasibility study? So a pre-feasibility study may be conducted first to help sort out relevant scenarios before proceeding with a full-blown feasibility study. So you might just want to do a pre-feasibility study on your own, right? If you find out early on that the proposed business idea is not feasible, it will save you time and money and even energy. Well, for some people, they have so much energy, so that's not an issue. Then if the findings lead you to proceed with the feasibility study, your work may have resolved some basic issues. They have all dealt with some things. And then a piece of advice here we say a consultant may help you with the pre-feasibility study. But if you are bringing in a consultant, please participate in that pre-feasibility study so that it will give you the opportunity to understand the issues surrounding the entirely. So that's essentially how you go about the feasibility study. We say first whom, where, and how. Yourself. What about your competition? Do those analyses. And then lastly, how much money you need to do those analyses. And by way of advice, we say go ahead, do a pre-feasibility study before you go into the full-blown feasibility study. All right.
That has, that being said, we are done with the third topic, which is how you go about a feasibility study. So let's go to the last topic, which is components of a feasibility study. These components are almost like a guide to what you'll find in your feasibility report. Your feasibility report at the end of the day should have these 6 elements or 6 sections or 6 items. And as you proceed to the field to do your feasibility study, we expect that you would have prepared some guides with some objectives, some study guide plan, that has to do with most of these areas, these 6 areas. So the first one is description of the business. That's easy. You don't need a feasibility on that. You don't need to do a questionnaire on that. All you need to do is to describe the product or service that you will be offering. Give us so much details about it, why people need it, what it does, what it contains, and all of that. Then allow me to jump to the conclusion before coming to item 2, 3, 4, and 5. Conclusion. Conclusion discusses how the business can succeed, and you make recommendations. Be honest in your assessment, because investors won't just they will check whether it is realistic or not. And because some of them are also businessmen, they are going to question this thing can work or not. So your conclusion and recommendation should be as realistic as much as possible. All right, let's go into the key items, because note that your conclusion comes from the description of the idea and the other. All right, so the other elements that you must discuss, you should discuss, is your market feasibility. Under this, what are you trying to aim at? We need you to understand the industry as a whole. Is it automobile industry? Is it agri industry? Is it food industry? We need you to understand. So you give us a description of it. And then you also talk about the current market and what market means as far as we are discussing today. The people that will buy, right? Then tell us about your anticipated future market potential. What will happen in the future? Talk about competition. Then from your from your anticipated sale, you should be able to let us know your sale and then who your potential buyers will be. All right, so that's that. And then the next point is your technical feasibility. Technical feasibility deals majorly with okay, technical feasibilities, like I said, has to do with all the materials, the labor, the transportation that and the technology that you need to bring into the business. Labor here, we're talking about specialized labor. And transportation, how do you move this item? Are they heavy equipment? Do you need a backhoe? Do you need some payloader and all of that? Then the technology, what kind of equipment? And how will they work? So in this session, you are dealing with the technicalities of the business completely. Then the other session is the financial feasibility. Here we will talk about how much capital is needed to start it. Where will you get the capital from? And now that you have gotten the capital and you have started the business, how much are you going to return on this investment? If you put in 5 million here, how much will you be getting annually from the 5 million, sorry, on the 5 million? So because when you put in 5 million into a business, you're not going to see the 5 million as cash any longer. The 5 million would have been put into things like equipment, would have been put into raw materials. So by the time you sell, you make sales, you still have your equipment on, but you still have, you converted some of your raw materials and you have sold them. How much do you have? That's, and you take away the 5 million, how much do you have left? That's your return on investment. Organizational feasibility. That's the next item, organizational feasibility. Here, we look at the legal structure. What, is it going to be a business name? Is it going to be a private limited liability? Then you also look at corporate structure of the business. Corporate structure in terms of what organogram are we going to put, what organogram are we going to put on ground? Who are the professionals that we'll be bringing in? How will they contribute to this business? For if it's an existing business, right? You're going to look at, okay, how does this new idea fit into the existing business we have, or how does this new idea, how will it flow with what we already have? So you put up all of that, and you have your feasibility study report. So in let me quickly run through the four components again, so that I can conclude on this session. For the market, we need you to market analysis. You need to look at target population, market segmentation into gender, middle class or age. Then in that market segment again, you need to come up with a strategy for the particular class of people you are looking for, and then do a competitor analysis. How many of them do you know? How many are coming in? What are the strengths? What are their weaknesses? What are their challenges? You need to look at that also. Then the next one, technical analysis. What kind of equipment do you need? Where are you going to be located? Who will be your supplier? What kind of this skilled labor that you need? Where are you going to get them from? What kind of raw materials do you need, and all of that? That comes under your technical analysis. Then financial analysis, where this you will have to add money to your technical analysis, like fixed asset or the equipment. How much will it cost? Raw materials for 2 months, how much? Salaries and wages for 3 months, how much? What are some of the pre-operational expenses that you incur, like clearing of land, like with negotiation, like agency fee and all of that? So you do that, and then you go to the next section, which is your sales projection. Here is number of items that you produce, number of people that will buy. You multiply it by what you think your price will be. Then the fourth aspect or the fifth aspect is organizational analysis. I've explained this before. This involves questions such as whether the system has enough support to be implemented successfully, whether it brings in excessive amount of change, and whether the organization is changing too rapidly to absorb it. You're going to answer all those questions and convert all these your answers into a report, and that's what to present as your feasibility study report. Ladies, gentlemen, thank you very much. That should be the end of the first session. We will take a break. The break will not, in fact, we might not take any break at all, because we promised that we should leave here 12. So we will see what we can do about that. But I need you to react to these questions quickly. Quickly react to it. That will be the break we'll be taking. The first one is, how do you react to these questions? Just type 1 on the chat, and then you answer. For the first one, should every business have a feasibility plan? So you type 1, you write your answer no, or you write your answer yes. Then number 2, what's the relevance, importance of a feasibility plan? You type 2, and then you write the importance. Then 3, from this lesson, from what we have been discussing, which aspect of the feasibility plan can you prepare? I gave you the components. Which aspect can you prepare? So you write number 3 and say all, or you list the aspect that you think you can prepare. Then you go down, take us to number 4. For which aspect would you require help of others? You write number 4. You could say none. That's for those of you that say you can prepare all the aspects. And then if you think that there's an aspect you need help, you can just say, okay, I need help with this particular section. Okay, thank you very much. While you attempt the questions, I will be reading your chat shortly, and by 11:45 we should start business plan, the second section. Thank you for listening to this session. All right, I've gotten your responses. You said, I hear the last person said organizational feasibility. That's where they'll need assistance. Fine, 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 fine. All right, thank you very much for thanks to those that have attempted. I said we should start the next session by 11:45, so we should at this time. All right, session 2, business plan. To start with, um, we have to be realistic when we're with some of our transactions. I am supposed to end this class by 12, but I was told that communication is key, meaning that, or I can infer that from that, that you should give me some additional time to enable me conclude. And I don't know how many minutes you are willing to add. And after the business plan, we'll also do a quiz after the whole section. The quiz, I'm sure you'll be very fast with the quiz so that everyone can go home and come back tomorrow for the other section, for the other module. All right. This particular session, we have 7 items, seven items to discuss, and these 7 items are the elements that we're going to find in your business plan. The first one is executive summary. Second one is business description. The third one is your business concept, the strategy. Give us your value proposition. Another one is market summary and competition. The fifth one is competitive advantage, your SWOT, your risk analysis. 6, resource planning and your team. 7, financial projection. Sometimes the numbering could be a matter of how you choose to arrange your write-up, where you can have 1.0, you have 2.0, and then you have subtopic 2.1, 2.3. But these things that we have listed here are the, at minimum the number of things that we should see, or on average you should have most of this in your business plan. So this section is about describing what you have to write in each of these sections. So the first aspect is the executive summary. Executives, the assumption here is that you're sending your business plan to some executives, and these executives will read your business plan and take a decision on it. Executives, one of their biggest enemies is time. So what can you put down in the executive summary to help them read it? You need to put down the whole item you have written in the business plan, summarize it into a particular page, and note it as executive summary. I recommend that your executive summary shouldn't be more than 1 page. But if you must exceed 1 page, please do not exceed 2 pages. That's the tradition. And the reason being that you need to catch their attention. If your executive summary is catchy, then they will want to proceed into reading the whole business plan or want to take a favorable decision. When should you write the executive summary? It's written at the end of the business plan. So the next item we are going into is the first thing you write. And when you are done with everything in your business plan, then you come back and design your executive summary. 2, give us your business description. Describe the business. Your business description, as in so business is registered here, is this, is that. Uh, it it wants to sell this. The main promoter is this. A you just describe the whole business, just a description of business, be concise and make it very clear. Then you have to also put the purpose of the business. Why are you setting up the business? What do you intend to achieve? You could put that, you could even do that in a form of a mission statement. A mission statement, it clearly states your company's long-term mission. Try to use words that will help direct the growth of your company, but be as concise as possible. You state the purpose that this is what we'll be doing, and most of the time when you find a mission, you will also find what a vision. Vision is your desired optimal future state, what you hope to look like in future. So you need to put that in form of a statement, and that's the difference between a vision statement. The mission is the purpose, and then the vision is your desired state, what you think you should look like. All right, we'll go to the next item. Here is your business concept, your business model, your strategy. What is your business model? Meaning, what style of business are you going to use? Like a business model could be maybe you are into transportation. How do you get your customers? Maybe you want to get your customers through online, or you are into transportation. Your model is that you go to the railway station and you pick passengers that are coming, or you could combine it with other things. You could say, okay, I have a taxi, I'm going to run around the whole town, but at so time that the train arrives from so place, I will be at this particular place to pick up. These are business concepts, these are business strategy, these are business model. We need them down clearly. And what is this your business proposing? Give us a value proposition. Value proposition is what are you proposing that you will offer that your other competitors are not already offering. Give this proposition. You could even liken it to a marriage proposal. Why should I marry this man and not this other man? This time around, you are not the one doing the question, because your customers are like the wife, so, or like the lady you want to marry. So you, the business, who is the man, you are the one to propose what you have to offer that is better than other people. What are the things that you offer that can sell? One, efficiency. Two, quality. Three, speed. Four, cost. Tell us how you are going to operate better. Tell us what you are offering that others cannot offer. Tell us what makes you so special. All right, then you go to the next one where you deal with your market summary and competition. Recall that we discussed this extensively in when we're talking about the business feasibility study. So you are going to do a market summary. Your market summary will include review those changes in market share. Who was having a bigger market share? Who has this market share now? Who are the major players? How is the market shifting? Like for those of us using Zoom now, Zoom wasn't a big player before. It was Skype, I think, that was a major player, and then other players are in now, like WhatsApp, and then we have other names that are playing too. But for now, Zoom is rated as the market leader for such virtual meetings. So you do all those analysis and give us the reasons behind it. And then not just the reasons behind it, tell us why you are going to succeed. Why are you going to, what is going to make you stand out better in the face of this competition? Another interesting part is your competitive advantage. I find this place interesting. You have to come up with an advantage that makes you highly competitive. What is a competitive advantage? A competitive advantage is a combination of two things. You should have a unique resource, and then you should have core competencies. When you combine your core competencies, the things that you're very good at, and then your unique resources together, and this your combination is difficult to replicate or imitate, then we say you have a competitive advantage. Where it is difficult to replicate over a long time, then we say you have a sustainable competitive advantage. But even if it is in the short run, then it is also regarded as a competitive advantage. Competitive advantage could be simple things such as maybe you have several refrigerators placed in several supermarkets with your label on it, meaning only your products can be kept there. New entrants may not have acquired those refrigerators, so they will go and negotiate with supermarket owners whether they can come, whether they are buying their products or otherwise, and all of that. So you have these things already installed. It becomes a competitive advantage. We call it channel of distribution. So you need to work on your competitive advantage, and then you need to also state it in your business plan that you have a competitive advantage that is in this area, is in this area. All right. Another one is you talk about your SWOT. SWOT is your strength, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threat. Your strength and your weaknesses, they relate to internal things, things that are your own attributes. They are related to you as a company. Your strength could be you have very good staff, dedicated staff, your location is excellent, you are close to the road. Your strength could be you have certain technical know-how that others don't have. And then on the other side, your weaknesses could be maybe you have too many labor turnover. Your weaknesses could be power supply in your area is erratic. You could have any of those as your weaknesses. Then you move to opportunities and threats. Opportunities and threats are your external environments, things that are not within you but are influencing you from your environment. They could be opportunities. Like COVID-19 is an opportunity for certain companies, maybe those making masks, making sanitizers, and all of that, because these things are required. These are opportunities that have been created. Other opportunities could be the foreign exchange. The foreign exchange rate may have gone so high, right? It becomes an opportunity on grounds that if you are exporting your agri product, you will be getting higher exchange rate when you exchange them for naira. The value will be high. Other things could be threat. Threat could be for on the other side, those of you that are going to be importing certain things. The cost of your machinery spare parts will be too high. So you need to give us those analysis of your company in terms of your strengths, your weaknesses, in terms of your opportunities and your strength. Next point, risk. You do a risk analysis. What risk will your business face? List them. That is the things that will make your business not work the way you expect it to work. The things that can come and hamper the organization of your business. And the things that can come that will make your business prosper or bloom, or just get a boom, a boom or whatever. You need to put all of those down. And then we also need you to do your risk mapping. Risk mapping or risk profiling, as in what's the probability of this happening, what's the impact of this happening. After you do that, give us even a risk dashboard. Put them, you can use colors such as red, yellow, and green to suggest that, oh, these are risks that have high negative impact, and then these ones that are green, their impacts are not really much. Then you can go into mitigations. What and what are you putting on ground to ensure that when this risk occurs, the losses will be mitigated? You could use principles such as the TARA, such as transfer the risk, avoid the risk, accept the risk, or retain the risk. A key one, an easy one for which is transfer, is to give it to an insurance company. So you can insure your product. We have agricultural insurance. You could, for other business, you could just buy any insurance so that in the case of either fire or theft or something, you at least get a portion of your money back, even if you don't get 100%. It's better than losing every item. So we need you to put that down in your business plan. All right, the other thing is your resource planning. Your resource planning here is you plan your marketing. How do you want to deploy your marketing strategy? How do you want to deploy your distribution strategy? How you want to distribute your items. Then another one is how you want to plan your finances. For example, you are expecting 5 million. You know that you need 1 million now. You need 2 million in the next 2 months. and you need 3 million in the next 6 months and all of that, you have to present all of that on the ground. And the key other aspect we have talked about planning of materials here, planning of money here. There is another plan that I want you to bring out separately, and that is what? The team. You need to plan the team. Put it in terms of the list and put up something like organizational chart as well. The the team is who is going to be the CEO. Recall we've talked about the importance of management, and then what is their name, who are the other management team. After you put their name, let's have their qualification so that we'll know what their discipline is. After their qualification, let's also have what their years of experience is. It's not just that you are qualified for something, that will be all. But do you have experience in that particular area? And interestingly, we wouldn't mind if you can put their previous accomplishment, what they have achieved in a particular, of the great things that they have done in business somewhere else. You put them. That helps sell your business plan better. All right. Then the last aspect is your financial projection. The last aspect is your financial projection. This aspect outline a high-level financial plan that details your financial model and pricing assumption. What we're saying here, the first thing is you have to come up with your pricing assumptions. Pricing assumptions will help us know how you arrive at the cost of an item and then how you arrive at the selling price. If the cost of an item is going to be 3 naira, how did you get there? Maybe you have divided the cost of diesel you are using, the raw material you bought, the transport, and you have added them. And then you can tell yourself that, okay, if my cost is 10 naira, I want to add, I want to make a profit of 20% or thereabout. So you need to sell it at what? At 12 naira or thereabout. So those assumptions, and you have to give us assumptions such as, I assume my rent will be this, I assume raw material will cost this. State all those assumptions. They will be used to design the financial plan. Then you go from there, you go into some detailed attachment. The detailed attachment is where you have the detailed cash flow breakdown. The cash flow, will have 3 sections. The section that will deal with inflow, the section that will deal with outflow, and the section that will deal with balance. It's almost like a bath where you open the tap, the water that is flowing in is the section that is dealing with inflow. And then where you open for drainage is the section that is dealing with outflow. And then the bath itself is the section that deals with the balance. So if you plug the drainage, the drain hole, and then you open the tap, you know you collect lots of balance, lots of water. But if you open the drainage and you open the tap, but the tap is not flowing so much like a wide drainage, then you're going to have nothing in the balance. All that comes in goes out. So we need you to present this thing using an Excel detail. And maybe I could just show you from the we have here. And that should... All right, I know that I've exceeded by 5 minutes. Let's see, though I'm on the last session, let me see how much variance I'm going to get. But I'll try and shorten it as much as possible so we can leave here at a better time. All right, these are definitions. We're going to post we're posting these slides on the chat now for everyone to have it. You can just read them up, the part that relates to definition. So the slide will be posted shortly. Okay, the definitions such as initial capital, money received as loan, and all of that. Then other definitions such as expenditure, the amount you are going to spend, what you are spending on petrol, wages, expenses, paper, the one you are buying stock to resell, the one you are buying raw materials, purchases such as the equipment you are buying and all of that. All right, so the first aspect is the income inflow aspect. it would be nice if you can use something like an Excel, a Microsoft Excel, where you have columns and rows. And for those of you that are not very good in Excel, you could just use your hand, pick a paper, and then draw the tables, and then draw a table with columns and rows. The first column will be for description of the item. The second column will be for the period. If your period is monthly, then you can have January, February, like we have here. If it's weekly, you could have it in that order, or if it's daily. So you now list out your income. What are the sales you are expecting? Sales is number of items times the selling price. You put the figure there. Then the loan you are expecting, you put it there. The loan could be from Niger Microfinance, could be from Friends, it could be from any other source. You put it there. Although I know that the loan is not going to occur every month, but it will come up a couple of times. Maybe January, another loan will come up, another period. Or if your loan is broken down into phases, first phase 1 million, that will be in January. Second phase, that will be in April, or so. So you put that down, and then the total of each of the rows, you put it as total income. All right. The other aspect is expenditure aspect. It's similar to the income aspect or the inflow aspect. The only difference is that these ones relate to the things you are spending. So they will either be in minus, they will either be in minus or thereabout. So you will put your kind of expenses such as purchases, wages, rent, whatever they could be. And the total of it will be your total expenditure. And if you are buying fixed assets, you're going to still put it there as procurement of fixed assets. I know that won't occur all the time. That could happen once in 3 years or thereabout. All right, look at this example. I've put some figures here. If you can see the income side, sales, loans, total income there was 1,600, sorry. And then expenditure, purchases was 800, wages was 400, total expenditure was 1,2. So someone should be able to tell me what is the difference. 1,6 minus 1,2. All right, so let's deal with the the balance section. So the balance section, the elements that are new there, we already know total income 1,6. We know total expenditure, and we know how we arrived at those ones. So the difference between the two of them, that is 1,006 and 1,002, is the outflow of 400. Outflow of 400. All right. What's the opening balance? Opening balance is what do we have at the beginning of the period. Maybe the money you are bringing into the business or the money that was there before. So for the first year you are starting, if you are starting with nothing, we might have opening balance at 0. So the closing balance would have been the same as the balance, which is 400. But because we have 300, 300 plus 400 will give us 700. Then the next period will begin with what? 700, and so forth and so on. So you continue with that, and then you put it in your Excel. The things to note here are, what if the total income was not up to 1,006? What if the total income was just 1,000? So you need to pick from the opening balance to pay for expenditure. Where you don't have opening balance at all, you shift some of your expenditure to another month, or you negotiate repayment for another month. And lastly, if your inflow minus outflow or income minus expenditure is negative all through for a whole period and it doesn't get positive, then there is something wrong with your business. For the whole period you are going to project, if no one is positive, then the business is not feasible. That takes us to item 1 to check whether the business is feasible or not. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening. Thank you for listening. Some people are just entering the class when we're about closing. It's time for you to ask questions. I believe the slide has been posted on WhatsApp chat, not the Zoom chat, so that you can make use of it at another day.
Ask question. I will mute. You can ask question. What question? Any question that you feel like according to all what you have done.
So you ask question.
So you can talk, they will listen to you.
You don't have any question.
Your volume is on mute. Anything you say now, they can see you. Let me put it on. They are seeing you already.
For the quiz, even if
They are seeing you already. Okay. So you can ask any question. I really wanted to get there. That it's not clear. It's another person that is asking questions. It's a different person. What is?
Na kokasi onwe up and down. I don't dey hear anything. Hey, you go use microphone.
Oh, people are there physical. Like if some people are there physical.
Okay. Some people are here. Are there physical. Bringing the thing is an app. I know.
You should have the next module. The next module is on financial planning and bookkeeping. Financial planning and bookkeeping comes up tomorrow, and that will be taken by Mr. Uche Ohiari. On that note, I would like us to close today's session. I thank all of you. I thank all of you that have listened, and I want to wish all of you a very good day. All right. Thank you. You have a beautiful evening.